So here we have the SwissTech 30-in-1 multi-tool, and I've done a full review on this already, and I want to specifically address the gap in the wire strippers at the end and go over that. But first of all, I want to mention that these wire cutters work really good and that I am actually liking this tool more and more. So essentially what we have here is some of the design features of like the Ozark Trail Multi-Force. So these are essentially more like wave-size tools, and then on the inside you have copies of Leatherman tools as well, or heavily influenced, I should say. And then this tool itself is heavily influenced by the solid compound leverage system, obviously. And then this part of it seems to be essentially like the flip grip multi-tool. So the inventors have adapted 3 tools and essentially put it into one, and it actually works better than I would expect. So I wasn't sure what to think about this, but the more I use it, the more I like it. So I did use it tonight, and I cut some heavy-duty ductwork straps, some straps there, and I cut through it with this compound leverage, and it worked really good. I actually tried both sides, I believe, and then I was able to get a really good grip on it as well. So just initially, again, this is very early on yet, but it is working very well. I was able to use the 1/4-inch driver as well as a nut driver, and that worked very good as well. So everything is actually working pretty good. Now, the one thing I had a concern when I did this video, the previous video, was this gap right here. So you can very clearly see this gap. So let's go ahead and on the website of SwissTech, on one of them, on AliExpress, it says, "Thank you for seeing this product. I am Dawson, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me." Then it goes on that they've been developing this tool right here for 2 years, and they've debugged it and only produced 200. Now, I don't know if there's only 200 copies. I would think surely AliExpress has more than that, but who knows? And then it is a new innovation, he says, and the pliers are convertible, with the double-sided. It has 2 pliers right here, as you can see. And it says, this is the interesting part, one is still the conventional clamp head in the past. So this one on here, so this is supposedly the inventor talking. This is the conventional head. And then he goes on to say that the other is mainly based on the hole position, or I think what he means is the wire strippers. So this is the whole purpose of this tool, not really as a plier, but the whole purpose of the tool is to be a wire stripper. And so he says it's mainly based on that, so the design of the clamp head position is not aligned. So this is not just a fluke, but this is how all of you probably will get this, with a gap in the end. It says, I will show it in the picture, and then they have a picture as well. If you mind, please do not purchase. Thank you for your understanding. So that's an interesting take on it, that it will not fully close. And depending on which site, see, the site I looked at did not have this, but there's several different sellers on AliExpress that show this tool, and so on some of the sites they show this picture and some they don't. So if you are wondering why there's a gap, the gap is there, I guess, on purpose. So now I think some of it is design. Now what may be lost in the translation is that this is primarily an electrician's tool, and that there is a gap just like there is on some other electrician tools, as was mentioned by many of you in the other video that I did. So that is something that I think maybe I've remembered that in the past, but I'm not an electrician really. I'm an HVAC, so I'm not a hardcore electrician. I just use some electrician's tools at times, and so that's something I'd forgotten about. So this gap is something even electricians are more used to in some of their pliers. So that is something to consider, that it's really not that big a deal. I know someone mentioned that gap is still far too large, but one of the things to think about too is with a compound leverage system, a lot of people complain that you have to open the handles really wide to get purchase? Well, these pliers are already open a little bit for you, I guess you could say. And maybe that helps out a little bit. Probably not, but maybe a little bit. So that is pretty much what is up with the gap in the pliers. That is just part of the design at the moment. I don't think it's a big deal because, as the inventor said, you can go ahead and this will work. You can even, I mean, I've yanked hairs off my arm or hand and that works. It has a pretty good grip on it. So this side right here, you don't really have to have that. So this will be for bigger, heavier duty stuff. And as you notice, these plier heads are a lot larger than this size. So I don't think it's a huge deal in the end, but if that bothers you, just realize that that is how they are designed. So there is no returning them and getting one with another design. But I'll keep you up to date. So far, I really like this tool. And I'm actually carrying two multi-tools so I can test two at once. This and the DL1 I'm carrying to work, and it's just a pleasure to carry both of them actually. All right, I'll see you in the next video.